Investing Bros live show. We've got a lot to talk about this afternoon because even though we talked about last night's crash earlier this morning, the markets so far today have rebounded pretty well, with Bitcoin temporarily shooting back up over 55,000. Yes, it's back down closer to roughly 53,000 at the moment. But we're going to talk about what that means. Is the bottom in? Was that the confirmation we're looking for? Or is there still a lot we're kind of waiting on before we're comfortable about longs coming back into the space? There are a handful of reasons why the bottom could be in, but there's also still some work to be done for the bulls to regain confidence in the market. Either way, it's still, even at this point, at 53,000, is a beautiful buying opportunity for anyone who has not taken advantage of it. We're going to discuss those strategies and a whole lot more. Do a lot of Q&A today. I want to answer some of you guys' questions. We'll take a look at your guys' favorite altcoins and address where on the charts the best places to be buying them still look like at this point. With that said, if you guys enjoy the show, make sure you smash the like button. And if you're new, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. But first, we got to roll our intro. Everybody, do me a favor and remind me periodically through the show. No T-Shroom is here to interrupt me. So my temptation to not drink any water during the show is very great, but I need to. As you guys have heard, I had like a little bit of cough, a little bit of voice crack there in the intro. And now I've got a freaking ice cube in my mouth. It's going to be a fun show, guys. It's going to be a fun show. How are you guys doing, everyone? Look at Piper predicting. There we go. But first, let's roll that intro. Yeah, it didn't even mean to become like an actual thing. I just somehow always do it. And then I guess that's the new thing now. The new bit of Investing Pros. Now let's roll that intro. I've made a decision, everybody. No hat. It's right here. Got sweat on that hat. Holy crap. It's worse than that lighting. No hat until Bitcoin is back above 70,000. Is that going to be a week, a month, 7 months, 17 years? No Investing Bros hat for Tim. Maybe T-Shroom's still going to wear it until we're back above 70,000. That is my promise to you guys. T-Shroom is still not going to be a part of the show. He is fine. Anyone wondering how he's doing, it is still storming like crazy down there in Gainesville, Florida. If you are from Florida and you still have power, good for you. He has no power, no internet, no anything. And while we are hoping that comes back later tonight, sometime tomorrow, there's no guarantee that he'll be back for the next couple of days. Having been someone who lived in Florida the majority of my life, 18 years in Brandon, Florida, and then another 12, give or take, let's call it 11 in Gainesville. When power goes out from hurricanes, there are times where it can take several days before it comes back. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but it's not out of the ordinary for that to happen. I'll keep you guys posted on how he's doing. But today we're going to be keeping you posted on how Bitcoin is doing. Let's take a look at the charts here and see what is happening. On the daily chart, all you can really see is a lot of bearish candles. Look at that volume, though. Something we need to keep an eye on with that volume. This is the daily chart. Let's look at the last couple of times. Volume has gone from being so boring and low to being this crazy high. This isn't a great example. That's crazy high volume, but the volume had been kind of high. Either way, it corresponds to a bottom event, so keep that in mind. Volume communicates two things, either reversals or massive confirmation of a movement. With how low the volume is more recently, more often than not, these end up being reversals. You'll also see high volume back here, January 24th. Guess what? Big reversal. If you keep going on and you see spikes this high, rarely do we see spikes this aggressively high that do not mark at least temporary bottoms. Does that guarantee in and of itself that the bottom is in? No, it doesn't, but it is something to speculate on and to think about. We really need to see where this daily candle closed, and then honestly, we won't know the true answer. If this is confirmation of a reversal or if this is a confirmation that the bears are firmly in control right now. We'll have to wait actually for the next couple of days to see if that volume stays high and the blue candles, or if you have green candles in your chart, continue to slide to the downside. I said green, I meant red. Bearish candles as a whole. Do those bearish candles keep coming, or do we start to see a slow but sure creep to the upside? I want to go to the hourly chart, and anyone who's wondering, oh, well, that's it, dead cat bounce. Guys, take a look. Take a look at former bottoms here. You never just shoot right back up to the highs. It's always a process. Let's come back over here, back to July 5th. Take out what happened here. July 5th ended up being the bottom. Did that mean there weren't more days of concern about where the bottom would be? Absolutely there was. If you come back even further, come back over here to late May, or this is May 1st. Check out the volatility here on the hourly chart. It was not nothing but white candles up and to the right. There's always a little bit of decision making that has to happen. Right now, anyone who's trying to look at the current price action of Bitcoin on the hourly or 5-minute or whatever you're going to be using and tries to say, oh, I know perfectly what's about to happen, you can speculate, you can make opinions, but what I'll tell you, whether we go to the upside or whether we continue the downside, this is the normal, at worst, dead cat bounce, at best, the volatile bottom movement. That does not mean that we just go up, up, up and to the right. With that said, you're going to notice we rejected almost perfectly, did not hit our take profit, but we did hit that hourly smart trail of resistance. So this is going to be very big, that the hourly chart gets above about 55.7, that we turn that red smart trail from Luxalco into a blue one and reconquer that for the bulls. We have been bearish now on the hourly chart literally all the way since back on the 29th when price was sitting close to $70,000. We flipped it red, and we have been red this whole time on the hourly chart. That's going to be the first sign, of course, after that you want to flip it on the 4-hour, which we're going to need probably a price action closer to, if not above 60,000. You move all the way up to the daily chart to reconquer it. We got to go a long time. I mean, ultimately, by the time the daily chart reconquers the red smart trail, we're probably talking about we're not that far away from a bigger breakout to the upside and the ultimate bull market. I'll tell you this. Whether the bull market let's not call it a bull or bear market, whether the downtrend, the current downtrend, bounces back up or goes back down, I will be very surprised. Again, it's not impossible, but this is such an aggressive move to the downside. I would be very surprised if Bitcoin starts to climb back up and gets back up to the top of this range and rejects again. My imagination is the next time we test this higher blue level of resistance in this falling channel, that will be breakout opportunity. The possibility or probability of a move back, reversing here and coming back down to lower levels, just not very likely. Wherever we end up bottoming out, whether 49 was the bottom, whether we go to 45 or 42, or do we drop to the 30s? I saw someone in chat earlier say, guys, let's just go ahead and drop down here to 33,000 and set ourselves up a nice little inverse head and shoulders pattern. That's cute. You know, that could happen. I don't think it will, but it could. No matter how far we drop, I do believe this is the last leg of the pullback. The next major move to the upside is going to be the full-blown bull market. What does that mean? What do you do with that information? That means buy the freaking dip. This is a family show. We don't see any bad words here. Freaking is about as testy as we get, but that is the ultimate side here. That is the ultimate thought, is that we have to be buying right now. Do not be frozen by fear. Do not think you're waiting for the perfect opportunity to buy Bitcoin. Buy while you know the price is good. And right now, the price is very, very good. As I told you guys, lots of reasons to think potentially this was the bottom. Let's start off here. Order block in play. We're back above this support level, even with the wick down below it. That bounced perfectly to the wick. We had a resistance back in January. Our daily chart is definitely showing us signs of being pretty stinking oversold. Some heavy bullish divergence even in play at the moment. You're seeing here the last couple times we saw this were good reversal patterns, but we are back to being very oversold. Technically not 100%, but 81% oversold right now on the RSI. The MACD's got bullish divergence in play. The oscillators have bullish divergence in play. So keep an eye on that for sure. But even when you come to these lower levels, again, it's not quite flashing the perfect buy signal yet, but take a look at what we're looking at. Massively oversold here. MACD back down to levels we have not seen on a 4-hour chart. Holy cow, guys. We've not seen the 4-hour be this low since all the way back in November of 2022, back when I believe, if I'm not mistaken, not only is that back very, very close to the bottom of the bear market, that's back when FTX had its collapse. So notice, last time we were this bad on the 4-hour MACD, FTX was crashing Bitcoin for the last time of the bear market. This time we're sitting still above $50,000 while this is happening. Yes, we flashed to 49, but we're back up above 50K. Is that lower than we thought it was going to be about a week ago? Absolutely it was. But that's still something that we're keeping an eye on and saying this is majorly bullish. We talked about this morning, the Bitcoin fear and greed is coming. Let me turn some stuff off here. Bitcoin fear and greed back below 30. It's at 26. I would be very surprised tonight, unless we get a rally back up above 60,000, to not see it down into the teens. Actually, I did not pull that up. Let's do it. Let's pull up the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. I should have done it. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to see I have a lot of tabs today. We got a lot of things to get through before the show is over, but I still think we'll have time for Q&A. Back down to 26. Again, this flashed. Let's just take a look. This flashed 26 when we were at, let me see where 8 o'clock last night was. On the 4th, around 20. Yeah, the price when this flash was 58,400. Even with the bounce back, we're still sitting just below 53 at the moment. If we do not rally massively, this Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is going to be probably down below 20. That would be a major bullish sign. The last time, let's go take a look at the last time this thing was below 20 on the fear and greed. It was going to be all the way back here because this one wrote it. It's going to be all the way back in July of 2022. So not even the bottom of the bear market made it below the 20 on the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. I think there's a chance we at least get to 20, if not a little bit lower. We'll keep you posted on that tomorrow, though. Back over to the charts. Again, a lot to talk about here. Let's move away from the charts in terms of technical analysis. Let's get into some other analysis on charts. And let's take a look at liquidations here on Bitcoin. I want to go all the way out to the 6-month chart to show you this. There's no more rational reason right now for traders to manipulate the space to the downside. Remember last week even though I said I didn't think it was highly probable that there was a chance that traders targeted 50K because of all of the liquidity down at that low level, all of the longs that could be liquidated completely. Guess what we've seen in the last 24 hours? I think it's something like $1.3 or $1.2 billion liquidated from the space. But we now have nothing below us. I mean, I can go back to large charts here. That's the 6-month chart. Let's see what the 1 year is saying. 1 year, look at this, guys. 1 year, the bright yellow coming in at 51. It doesn't show that we've gone down past it because it hasn't made up for this candle just yet. But when you look below, yeah, there's a little bit of green here on 33,000. So let's just put that on the table. Is it possible to go to 33? I guess technically, but there's no more bright yellow. There's no more strong, rational liquidity for manipulators to chase to get rid of the weak, the retail investors. We are massively in a fearful market right now, meaning the only people that hold Bitcoin and are buying Bitcoin are long-term holders who are stubborn like me. I think a lot of you as well, who refuse to sell even if price goes all the way to new lows for the market. What that means, if there's only long-term holders and no one wants to sell, there's no more ability for people to crash the price. You get rid of it all and you move things up to the upside. The only thing you can do is target liquidity levels where all those stubborn people who refuse to sell, you target the levels that would get them out of the space, that would force them out. Now that we've dropped below 50K, there's no more of that. There's no more ability to manipulate price whatsoever. That is something that I think should encourage people very, very much so. But let's get into it. I got a lot of articles we're going to talk about. Like I said, most of them actually are X accounts, reasons to be positive. There's some things I'm going to focus on at the end that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. That keeps us a little bit on our toes with what happens next. But I want to make sure you guys understand, despite all the fear in the space right now, there's a lot of reasons to be positive. The first one is going to be a little bit of a joke, but I think it's worth the joke. Jim Cramer coming out, everybody. Feels done, but historically, a big one-day sell-off does not lead to a bottom. Should be more to come after this bounce. Now, this is obviously just having fun. Ultimately, I tell everybody this. Do not trade based off of Jim Cramer, either positively or negatively. But the joke is that he calls things historically and hilariously wrong at all times. So if he thinks that the bottom is not in, I'll tell you this. more often than not, people who do trade the inverse Cramer end up being very profitable. So if he thinks the way you have further go to the downside, possibly, we do have some further. First, the bottom is in if that is the case. Let's move on, though, to some more serious things. I said it in the title. The whales have been buying, but the truth is they're not even just buying today. Today is a godsend for the whales. The whales have been buying over the last couple of weeks. Bitcoin whales moved 84,000 Bitcoin from exchanges in July, the highest in 9 years. Now, of course, a lot of that was moved before all of the craziness last night, but let's read into the details and see if this is still relevant to today's information. Bitcoin's largest holders have been highly active, according to data from crypto analytics platform Glassnode. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. Hit the wrong one. There we go. Let's see. According to Glassnode, these whales withdrew record-breaking 84,000 Bitcoin worth $5.2 billion from exchanges last month. Notably, this marked the highest volume of Bitcoin withdrawals from exchanges in 9 years and the quickest pace since 2015. You guys see here, this purple here representing those withdrawals. It's been a long time since we've seen withdrawals of this magnitude. Of course, like it said, we're going all the way back to the year 2015. What happened back the last time we saw this big of a spike? In fact, the last 2 times, these were major bottoming out periods in Bitcoin price before explosive bull market started. Even you go back and you look at other big ones like right here where whales move things off exchanges, this was the midterm dip in 2021 before the bull market would continue. This is a very positive sign. Historically, such significant withdrawals have coincided with Bitcoin's price nearing its lows, around $200, fueling speculation that this trend might suggest a bullish outlook for cryptocurrency. Crypto analytics platform Sentiment also observed this trend, underscoring the substantial accumulation among Bitcoin holders between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin. So we're not talking about your local friend named Joe down the street. We're talking about people with serious cash. We call them whales. We call them smart money. Those are the wallets he's talking about right now. Conversely, though, let's talk about these are people that are still richer than me. I don't have 100 Bitcoin. I would love to have 100 Bitcoin. I don't have that. But conversely, they notice smaller holders with 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin appear to be distributing their assets. So you have the super smart money, the long-term, the wealthy, the people that refuse to lose, holding their Bitcoin. It's only the people here in the middle, still very wealthy, still way more wealthy than me. But honestly, these are probably just wealthy people that are newer into Bitcoin, holding 100 to 1,000. Those are the ones distributing. This is ultimately a very positive sign. I think that is all that I have there for that article. What does this mean? Again, this is an article that was written today, but it was talking about something that happened before last night's crash. If whales were accumulating, if smart money was accumulating in bulk when price was hovering pretty much at low $60,000, what do you think they're doing at 50,000? Yes, something took us by storm. I speculated this morning that while I'm not ready to call it a full-blown black swan event, what happened in Japan yesterday, in Taiwan, in Korea, where they are seeing crashes in their stock markets. Again, this is not something that people had on their bingo card last week. No one was preparing for this. We did know the job reports weren't coming in very great. We did know that recently Kamala Harris had actually been doing pretty well. That scares some people in the space. We also understood that it wasn't yet time for the bull market to happen. There's a lot of things we can explain. I don't think a lot of people were prepared for the Asian markets to crash so heavily. That took us a little bit by surprise last night. That is why we fell below $50,000. That being said, that does not change what the whales have been viewing now for a while, and they see that the writing is on the wall, that it's time to be loading up, not to be getting out of this futuristic asset that will make people a lot of money. But let's continue, and let's take a look at some other things that you need to be aware of. I'll hit this wrong out and make sure I back out because I cannot move to my screen. There we go. All right. Running the show by yourself is always very, very fun. Guess what we're going to do, guys? We're going to take you guys can read that article right there, all 500 of you, and smash the like button while I drink some water. T-Shroom's alive. What up, T-Shroom? Love you, man. All right, let's get back into it. Big breaking. I don't know how big and breaking it is, but it is something from Goldman Sachs. They said this is not a crash. It is a healthy correction. T-Shroom, we got to fix this. We got to get my ability to play audio. There's a clip circulating the internet right now from a representative from Goldman Sachs who pretty much repeated some things that we've said on this channel when talking about the stock market. Now, he wasn't addressing crypto. Crypto has been correcting. now for months. He's talking about specifically the stock market, how it had been overextended and needed what he called a healthy correction. No one feels like it's healthy. I mean, it's not every single day you see a 10% dip in the stock market, but yet he was saying that was what was needed to happen. We have been speculating about that for a while, predicting it would happen. Never did I think it would happen this quickly. And again, it took a lot of what was happening in the Asian markets to really spark the bearish nature to get it to do that. But we had been talking about a healthy correction in the stock market now for a while. I do believe we just weeded out a lot of weak hands in both crypto and the stock market. Do not be surprised if we start to see a large amount of inflows coming on those markets, both crypto and stock market, of course. But Goldman Sachs, I'll put it this way. I'm not going to say Goldman Sachs should be like a hero to anybody, but I would not put Goldman Sachs analysis in the camp of manipulative lying, right? Goldman Sachs isn't the company known to tell their investors one thing and do the exact opposite. That's going to belong to the likes of JP Morgan, to BlackRock, and several others like that. Goldman Sachs, not necessarily known for that. So hearing them kind of analyze this does not mean that that's it. That's the perfect call for the bottom. It does mean, however, though, one of the few people that do seem to lead their customers the right way does believe that this is nothing to freak out about. This was a healthy, normal correction, and we should be bouncing back very, very soon. Let's see what else we have here. Got a lot of random X. The news is actually pretty light today. It's a lot of posts on X that I found very compelling. Something interesting I saw from Bitcoin Magazine that said, despite the crash, BlackRock and Fidelity are not selling their Bitcoin. Arkham data shows. Now, this is a world of chaos. Anyone who's an expert on how to track wallets, be my guest to dive deep into it. I'm ultimately going to just stay with trusting the news here and saying, well, there's a lot of things going on in this chart. What they're ultimately showing these pictures of is to prove, if anyone's wondering, is BlackRock and Fidelity freaking out right now and selling their Bitcoin? The answer is no. No, they're not doing it, at least at the moment. The evidence showing they are holding firm, just like I am. We keep moving on here. Guess what is going nuts, though? And this is something we predicted potentially would happen this morning, and we had to wait for just a couple of hours to see the details. This might even be out of date at the moment, but it's something that we've seen. The last time I saw it reported, massive trading volume for U.S. Bitcoin ETFs today. The IBIT is over 2 billion. That's, by the way, guys, is BlackRock. iShares Bitcoin Trust has $2 billion worth of volume. I'm looking for the reports. I'm sure there's going to be posted on Twitter later, and I'll talk about them tomorrow. My assumption, or what I've heard, is there's hundreds of millions of dollars of inflows. That's going to be long-term positive. There's a chance that could really address after the market closes tonight. But either way, the volume coming in, 2 billion, setting historic numbers. You're going to see some other ones like Fidelity up over 500 million, GBDC 430 million, Arkham is 174 million, BITB 127. We're pretty much looking at, if you guys do the math here, we're getting close. It's actually over. Yeah, we are over $3 billion worth of trading volume today so far since we opened because of that huge crash. I am sure that some people ran to sell their ETFs because they're chickens and they got scared. But I'm gonna, if I was a betting man, I'm going to bet that a lot of people ran when they saw those prices to go gobble up some more of these ETFs. We will find out more about that tomorrow. Let's keep moving on here and look at some other things that I found very interesting. You guys know I've said for a while, Peter Brandt, one of the people early on in my trading career, my technical analysis career, that I've learned a lot from, and I really respect things that he's saying. Now, he said something here that's a little different than I've said recently, but you know what? I'm going to defer to him and say this is actually part of something I probably should start doing a lot more as an analyst. He's speculating in this price action. He's showing you guys the historical analysis for why this actually could end up becoming a pump. Is he predicting it? No, he is not. Is he saying it's 100% certain? No, he is not. But he is saying historically, you look at these slumps and these dumps, and they're usually followed by decent pumps. And by this dump number 3, there's a lot of times, just like I told you earlier, that we could see a pump out of it. But I love what he says in his comment section. He said it's important to always deal with possibilities, not probabilities, and never certainties. Now, I recently, again, someone in chat even said, Tim, you were so wrong on this. Maybe you guys didn't watch my morning show. I admit wholeheartedly, I was wrong about the probabilities. If you've been watching my show, we have talked about this significant level of 50,000 now for a while, but I always told you that I thought the probability of it was low. What Peter Brandt's getting at here, and is a kind of a learning lesson for me today, is it's really important to deal with possibilities. And while I have always dealt with possibilities, and our possibilities usually end up, the possibilities are always easy to kind of see, I have focused more recent on probabilities. It's something that I'm going to probably change here as I'm doing more analysis. Doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you guys what I think, but I'm going to make sure I deal a lot more in telling you guys what the possibilities are and not try to project to you what the probabilities are. I think Peter makes a very important point here. And ultimately, I responded to somebody on X who messaged me here more recently, I think this morning. Just so you guys know, anyone who watches this show think that I'm going to give you the most perfect. Someone says my mic still keeps making noises. I don't know what. I'm going to keep pushing through. Anyone who thinks I'm going to give you the most perfect analysis, you're in for disappointment. I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be perfect. In fact, I've gotten wrong a lot of things. Now, I'd like to think I've gotten more calls right than wrong, but either way, I always have a plan for, even in case I'm wrong, how I'm going to deal with my investing assets. And I hope you guys do as well. Technical analysis is not a crystal ball and is not a perfection of something that will happen 100% of the time. There's nothing that says we 100% of the time are going to respond to everything we see in technical analysis. Let's see. My screen just did something very, very weird. So my computer is flirting out here. My point here, I want to make sure you guys understand, is technical analysis does communicate to us levels of support and resistance, and it's very good about giving us levels of support and resistance. It also gives us amazing levels of telling us if we're overbought or oversold and how strong or how weak the market is. The reason why I feel decent about a move to the downside is because I honestly am looking at the charts and seeing a lot of support at these current levels, support that we told you was a possibility last week, even if I didn't think it was a high probability. Well, sure enough, hindsight's 2020, it is doing great, but we are seeing extreme oversold characteristics on the charts. And these are the types of things that tell us that it's time to buy the dip. I'm not talking to my traders. I'm not saying go ahead and enter a 4x long right now on the markets. No, I'm talking to my investors who have been holding dry powder because of the possibilities. It's time to deploy it. Maybe you want to hold just a little bit because of the possibility of 33,000. And if that possibility were to come true, could have massive bullish potential even after a major dip. But the point is, there's no guarantee whatsoever that those prices happen. You're guaranteed that right now you can buy Bitcoin for, let me get the updated price here. I promise you that you can buy Bitcoin right now for $53,300. Can I promise you what you can buy it at tomorrow? No, I cannot. I can't promise you what you can buy it at in 5 minutes. I'll give you a good idea, but I can't promise you anything. These are the types of opportunities when you see massive support and you see massive weakness in the market. Those are the opportunities to pounce on, to buy while there's blood in the streets. That's what I continue to urge people to think for themselves. I urge you to keep coming back. Again, I think we get a lot more things right than we get wrong. But when we get it wrong, we're going to come in and we're going to explain to you where we got it wrong and what our new analysis is. That's called adapting. That's how people actually make in the space. I hope you guys can appreciate that. Let's keep moving on here and see what else we have. Some other coincidental things that I've found to be bottom signals in the past. You tell me what you think. Just in, now this isn't just in as in right this very second, but it was earlier today. The following trading platforms are reportedly down: Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Vanguard, E-Trade, Fidelity. You could add Robinhood to this list. I don't know if Robinhood's back up. T-Shroom, you have to let us know because I don't trade on Robinhood, although I don't know if you can either right now with your power and the internet being out. These are historical moments, guys, when you as the retail investor have lost the access to go in and trade and to buy or to sell. They're going to come up with some grand excuse, but ultimately what it really is you weren't the one this dip was for. You weren't the one they brought the boat back for. They bought it back for their institutions. But if you're too busy buying all the dip and getting rid of the liquidity, how can all of their rich buddies go in and buy it? This is one of the reasons why cryptocurrency is so very important, everybody. There's a reason why we need decentralized finance and not relying upon Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Vanguard, E-Trade, Fidelity. These are centralized entities that do not have your best interest in mind. They have the best interest of their board, of making profit. And a lot of those people on board, they want to buy the dips. They don't want you to get them. So it's very common. Again, I'm not going to say a guarantee, but common for at major bottom or top events for conveniently these trading websites, all of a sudden you can't do anything and you can't take advantage of an opportunity of a lifetime. That's another thing I'm looking at that's very, very positive. Let's transition, though. I think there's a couple things here I want to make sure and bring to your attention. Justin, over at this point, it looks like it probably might even be closer to 2 trillion at this point, but 1.93 trillion wiped out from the U.S. stock market so far today. We're actually been seeing a nice little bounce in the stock market. So I think a lot of people bought it back up. Let's go ahead and take a look at stocks real quickly. We covered it briefly this morning. S&P 500 with a nice bounce back temporarily here on the day. It is correcting back down. Let's take a look at some of the more specific stocks. Tesla opening up back here on 184. Did temporarily get back up over 200, although it's wrestling with 200 and that gap. Let's go ahead and go to the daily chart and take a look here at some of these coin. This would be Coinbase, of course, opened way down at 160. It is up very much on the day, still in the red in the last hours because it closed on Friday up here at 203, but it did rally all the way back up to 197, working to close that gap as well. Microsoft up on the day, Meta up on the day. I'm going to go ahead and save some time, guys. Everything after major openings at lower levels, some as much as 15% dips in the pre-markets. We are rallying back to close the dip. Is that a guarantee that the bottom is in? No, it's not a guarantee. There's nothing that's a guarantee, but it is a positive sign that we had an overreaction last night to those Asian markets and things are maybe not necessarily as bad. This was just an opportunity for people to make a lot of money. Before we get into Q&A and get into altcoins, I wanted to take a look here and just update you guys on what we're looking at right now, because this is something a lot of people are looking at and saying, hey, this is going to be either the saving grace or the doomsday for the crypto and stock market as a whole, and that's going to be rate cuts. Right now, we have got a lot of movement here. September is now heavily, almost guaranteeing, not quite, but almost guaranteeing a 50 basis point cut in September. We did hear earlier today, guys. We covered on the show. I told you in the live show this morning, I did not see any confirmation that there was an emergency Fed meeting. I talked about it as if it might have been true, but I told you there was no guarantee of that. It is confirmed. That was fake news. It was rumors. Could they have one? Yes, it is well within their power to have one and cut rates before September. But I think that I think it's still a pretty good chance that while we will hear from the Fed more closer to the Jackson Hole event, I think we'll hear about them or hear from them before that. I would be very surprised if we get any surprise cuts before September. That being said, heavily pricing in now with 83%. We're going to get 50 basis point cut by the end of December. It's not above 50 itself, but when you include 150 basis point cut, getting 11% vote by December, or prediction by summer. Why don't I say summer? End of year, December. We are seeing 46.9, the highest predicting probability here that we should have 125 basis point cuts before the end of the year. Keep in mind, the last dot plot we got from the Fed said only one cut, only 25 points. Some people speculated that was rumors and we get closer to 3. Now we're sitting here predicting we could see 125. That would be 5 increments of 25 points cut. That would be massive. And I'll go ahead and tell you, and we're going to wrap this up, get into Q&A here. This is the situation that will matter for if it's bullish or bearish when we start cutting rates. If the Fed freaks out because of terrible data that they find out before we do, and that's their reason to cut rates, that could be a repeat of history where the stock market continues to crash despite the fact that we start getting aggressive with rate cuts. Why? Because rate cuts aren't what crash stock markets. Recessions are what crash stock markets. And we don't know we're in a recession for sure until the data confirms it. Well, guess what? Sometimes you can have all the pain. The data comes out a little bit later. At the moment, the data is nothing. When I'm talking about unemployment, when I'm talking about inflation, when I'm talking about GDP, it hasn't come out yet that it's in a place that we should be in a recession. However, if there is fear or if the Fed sees data points that give them a good reason to suspect it's coming and they start cutting rates, yes, the markets will crash. But I'm still going to remain bullish here, and I'm going to make a prediction that we will get rate cuts. But I think it's going to be because Jerome Powell does not want to go down in the history books as being one of the Fed, maybe potentially one of the last Fed chairmen who crashes the stock market. I think he's seeing the writing on the wall that the economy is in trouble. And even if it isn't yet in the toilet, he wants to keep it out of the toilet, and he will start to cut rates early. He will allow people to borrow money more easily. He will inject more buying power into the American economy. And we see a short-term, temporary soft landing. Guess what? They're going to turn the money printers back on. Money go burr. That's going to happen. Whether he cuts rate or he doesn't, that is going to happen. The question is, can we prop up the stock market once again for what seems like the 100th time in the last 5 years? I'm thinking the answer to that question is yes. Again, I cannot predict anything with 100% certainty. And because I was wrong about the move last night, I'm not going to tell you to go make an investment decision based off what I'm about to say. But I will tell you, if I'm going to give you my educated thought, my guess about what's about to happen, I think that the data numbers will not be as bad as what people are fearing, but Jerome Powell and the Fed will, for the first time in a long time, preemptively start cutting rates to try to inject power back in the economy. Watch the stock market recover. Watch crypto recover. New highs still before the end of the year. That's my prediction. We'll see if it is happening. Zindago, thank you. Or Zindagi, I don't know how you say your name. It says, need to chug water, Tim. Need to chug. Oh, he said, need to chug water like Tim, but that's a good reminder to me. He's also referencing my tweet from earlier. I told everybody on X, if you're not following me on X, guys, what are you doing? Go follow me on X. Let me go to my profile so you guys can see it. Go follow me on X. I put some good stuff over there. I keep you guys updated. It's at Tims_TA. If you're following a person that is pretending to be me, I don't know where my fakes are. I remember being very humbled by this. A couple of years ago, when I started getting more on the scene, people knew who I was. Of course, every time you're a more popular influencer, the bots come out. They try to replicate you, steal money from your followers, yada, yada, yada. But I was one of the few people who all of my fake bots had more followers than me. I was like hovering at like 3,000 followers, and the bots would have like 10,000 or something. But if you're looking for me, go follow me on X at Tims_TA. I currently have 10.3. Let's get that higher, though. 10.3 thousand followers. I need to grow X more and more and more. But I did put a tweet out earlier today, this one right here. Eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich today and save some money to buy the dip. Next year, we will get filet mignon. This is the time to save money. Why did I put this tweet out? Let me explain a little deeper to you guys, and then we'll get into Q&A. This is a good reminder to everybody in the space. You should not have a single dollar invested at the moment that you cannot afford to lose. If you have money that you're supposed to be paying the mortgage with, or paying food groceries, or if you're supposed to be paying bills, do not have that money in crypto. If anyone took their bill money and tried to double it to try to make more money, that's very dumb. Don't do that anymore. That being said, try to keep your bills, your expenditures as low as possible so that you can put every dollar you can into crypto right now. That is the best bet for your long-term health. In the future, there will be seasons to celebrate and to party. Even in the Bible, it talks about there's a season to celebrate and to have fun. There's also seasons to work hard and to live frugally. I don't know, is that frugally is the right term there? This is the time to live very frugally, whether that's a word or not. You know what I mean. Don't spend money on steak right now. Go buy PB&Js. Get some ramen. I don't say ramen noodles. Ramen noodles, I think, literally might be cancer in a packet. To be fair, most food in America is cancer in a packet. So to be wise with your food choices, stay healthy. That's the other sad thing that I see. Too many people ruin their health to make money. And then when they make all their money, they spend all that money to get healthy. I'm a believer, to the best of your ability, save as much money as possible, but invest in your health as well, so you don't have to pay big bills later. The pharmaceutical companies love it when you get all those medical problems. Try to stay away from those as best you can. Let's get into okay, Morgan Powell backing me up. This is a word. All right. Thank you. That's awesome. Let's see here. Piper saying, I will tell you this. I don't have over $500,000 invested anymore. You got over $500,000 of bills, Piper? We need to see a financial advisor. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I hear you. Are you waiting for the buying dip? Piper, put in chat. Where are you buying? Where's all in for you? Like what price do you need to see in the markets? You have some cash on the side. Where are you going all in? All your chips on the table. Let's see what else we have here. Buy a chicken and eat eggs every day. That's actually, if you're trying to get some high protein, that is one way to do it. There's not as many minerals and vitamins in like chicken as there are in like beef or other things. Eggs have some good stuff as well, but it's definitely chicken's definitely the cheaper protein if you're going to go after animal meat. It is. I don't think he's ever all in. You know what? Not a terrible idea. Piper says 45K. 45K, he's all in. Guess what, guys? Whether we hit that or not, it's not that far away. If he is right and we're going to 45K, not that far away. We're at 53 right now. We'll see how that goes. What is the next pain point for Bitcoin? Almost too bearish. That point. Almost too bearish at that point. What's the next pain point? Let's take a look at the charts. Let's just kind of look at a lot of things here. So I mentioned earlier, someone did point out that 33K would be the lows from way back here in January of 2022. It would give us an inverse head and shoulders pattern. I showed you guys on liquidity. While the highest liquidations were sitting here at 51,200, which we cleared out now. If we were to drop lower, there's technically some liquidity sitting here just below 34,000. So that to me is a level of pain for sure. But let's look at some other analysis here. Let's start off by looking at Luxalgo, what it's saying. Let's go out to the weekly chart. Major order block in here around 46. The lowest end of this, 45.5. Kind of some levels Piper's talking about it there. If we were to turn this off and we start to look at some other things like fixed range volume, let's start off by just looking at since the bear market bottom, but I'm going to go back and look at the bull market as well. Some levels to keep an eye on. I tell you guys all the time, it's the volume gaps that I see and I love the most as support levels. It's not really the peaks. So what I'm kind of watching here, we kind of did fall right here to this one around 49,000. The next one is going to be sitting somewhere here at 45K. So we're seeing a couple arguments for 45K as a next move. You're going to be seeing some stuff around 39, 35, and then again here at 33. These volume gaps in the fixed range volume, if you guys can see, I guess I didn't zoom in close enough. Those are my levels that I watch for good buying levels. Let's take a look at potential Fibonacci levels that could get very interesting from a response. We did bounce here off the 0.236. Could we come down to the $40,000 level and hit our 0.382? That's the log chart. Linear wise, pretty much 45,000 kind of coming in here on the 0.5. That's going to be retracement. Some people are still looking at Fibonacci from the top of the bull market. Ultimately, the reason we do technical analysis is because this is what other traders watch, and we like to do the same things that the other traders do. A lot of traders saying that look how we came back down to that golden pocket. Again, the same golden pocket we rejected on back in January. Now we've turned it into support. Is that evidence for that? But again, here we got the 0.5 level at 4.3. So it's one of those things that I would say there's a lot of support levels between where we currently are and 33. I would say, though, if you're asking the question max pain, below 33 at this point, a lot of support, a lot of buying that should happen at 33K. And therefore, if it gets lost, that'd be pretty horrible and pretty aggressive for the price of Bitcoin to the downside. Does that mean I'm going to sell? No, I'm not going to sell. But it is something I'm aware that there is a possibility of. And therefore, we have to be mindful of it. Good question there. What altcoins you guys want to take a look at? I guess when I said let's do Q&A, if we want to do other things as well, we can look at a lot. But I wanted you guys to choose some altcoins you were interested in getting some analysis on. I see a couple people now. Maybe it's the same person. No, it's two different people asking about Chainlink. Let's go talk about Chainlink. I addressed that this morning a little bit. Want to make sure you guys understand. It's almost like the same thing that happened with XRP. I was one of the few people that called for that XRP pullback last year. People said I was crazy. It turns out I was not crazy enough. Let me reference that. Back last year, when XRP's price actually was right in here, when XRP's price doubled in a day, I told everyone, hey, don't be surprised if we fall all the way back down to 56 cents. Well, it turns out, like I said, over the next couple of weeks, we didn't just fall back down to 56 cents. We went a lot lower, and we recently pulled back all the way down to 38. The point is that I was talking about a former resistance level that had served several times as both support and resistance for XRP, was a major level there at 56 cents. We ended up dropping to it and then going a lot lower. I made the same analysis kind of here with Chainlink that this $9.50 area was a great buy signal as it was resistance for a long time throughout the bear market. But then here in October, we just blasted through it like it was nothing. And I told everyone a long time ago, it would not shock me for Chainlink to drop back down to the 950 level, turn that resistance into support. Guess what? That happened last night, only we didn't stop. We kept going. In fact, we hit all the way down to $8.10. Now, $8.10 is an interesting area. It was not on my analysis because I didn't put that as my max pain level, but take a look at where that level is. It actually, with these three wicks, all went up to 950, but more recently, since February of 2023, that $8 area had become the major resistance. So was that the bottom? We're going to have to hold off and say for certain, but just know that is a very coincidental. That's a former resistance level that could be turned to support. The same logic I used for 950. So keep that in mind. We also are sitting at the moment in a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern that if it played to its full fruition would bring the price all the way down. I think I went too low on that one. Let's do with candle body closes more so than wicks. Let's kind of keep it here more conservative. Yeah, this would bring the price all the way down to 750. Back down to pretty much the lows right there before October got explosive with Chainlink. So let's see. Piper says that was the level that coincided with Bitcoin moves. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So it's pretty much going back down to the same kind of Bitcoin high right there. Either way, that's what I'm kind of watching right now. I'll tell you this. I bought last night because I had a limit order for Chainlink at 950. So I bought some Chainlink at 950 and I am right now, I have dry powder that my plan was, if things get worse or a whole lot better, that's when I deploy this dry powder. I would say if I see 810, I'm probably buying more Chainlink at that level. I will keep an eye out there for like 750, but to me, that's a dream come true. Just even to buy Chainlink at 950, let alone be able to buy back at 810. A lot of people are going to say, but Tim, isn't this a sign that Chainlink's days are numbered? No, it's not a sign of anything. This is a normal pullback for altcoins. I showed you historically in the past, it's not uncommon for altcoins to pull back upwards of 70% in a bull market, but not hit new lows. I'm not freaking out about Chainlink. It just means more opportunity for upside. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, let's just talk about this real quick. Remember when I told you guys that I have for Chainlink, the bearish, meaning the low opportunity, Chainlink gets to about $200. I think realistically we get closer to $500. And I think if everything goes correct, the bull market could see Chainlink go to $700. I'm waning on $700. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put a high level of belief in a $700 Chainlink unless it happens explosively. But I think that somewhere between 200 to 500 reasonable. Here a couple of weeks ago, if you had been buying back in here, like back in June, we're talking about a potential only 12x, maybe a 27x, right? That's still good. But guess what? You have the opportunity at the moment, if you were to buy Chainlink here below 950, at the high end, like if it goes super bullish, 76x. If it gets realistic, 52x. If it's bearish, if it doesn't perform that well, you're still looking at 22x. Opportunity. You love it. I love it. That seems good to me. Let's go. I see someone say Caspa. Let's take a look at what Caspa is doing. I'm going to keep this prediction. I still think a big next breakout for Caspa is 35 cents, but we did lose this triangle. Ultimately, we got to the tipping point, had a fake out. Let's go to the daily chart so you guys can see this a little clearer. But we're falling now. Ultimately, here's what I will tell you guys. Even though it's good to do formations and pay attention to analysis and everything else on altcoins, Bitcoin's still king. If something happens in the Bitcoin world or the market world as a whole, throw the altcoin TA out for a second and realize, all right, things are going to play out beautifully. There was just not a world in which Bitcoin crashed by like 10%, but Caspa keeps on rallying throughout what happened last night, right? That's something that I see a lot of people saying sounds crazy. We'll see. Come back and watch the show in the summer of 2025. We'll see who's crazy. I've been called crazy. I'll tell you this. I love being called crazy because almost without fail, every time I say something that someone calls me crazy, that's the things I'm most right about. It's when I say stuff that everybody agrees with that I have to start questioning myself. So thank you for calling me crazy. That makes me feel a lot better about myself. Caspa, though, again, coming down here on the daily chart, we wicked all the way back down to 12, but finding some support here above that daily smart trail. That's something I think Caspa still set up very, very strong position. Still has a very bright future. It just wasn't going to ignore the corrections of the last couple of days in the market. So that's something to keep an eye on. Let's get back. We have some bearish breaker block set up right here. We need to get back above. What I will say, though, this is a great opportunity, though. We're dropping back in the oscillators to levels we see historically give us good corrections, even on the daily chart. We're going to see some bullish divergence even here in play, I would say. That could be very, very positive for the Caspa price. Ultimately, it's going to follow Bitcoin. And if we see Bitcoin correct and go to the upside, I almost think at this point, until overwhelming positivity, sorry, my words there. Until we see overwhelming positivity back in the space, don't expect altcoins to run crazy opposite directions as Bitcoin. There's going to be some coins out here that do things more impressively. Like, for example, you guys see on this right side of my screen, all this red, everything's red. Ondo right now is the one coin. Nope, sorry, TIA. TIA's up actually 4%. Ondo and TIA, the two coins that I'm following that are actually in the green since last night, since 8 p.m. last night. Ondo had a nice little run up here. If you went to the hourly chart here, nice bounce back of 45% this morning. Now, Bitcoin had a nice bounce back as well, not 45%. But my point here is altcoins will move similarly to Bitcoin. They might even outpace Bitcoin at times, but they're ultimately going to follow what Bitcoin did. We were in a bullish cycle right here with Ondo. I told you guys I thought it was going to be very hard to drop below this blue line here on 70 cents. Guess what happened? We hit major support. A lot of people probably even wanted to buy here at 70 cents. Bitcoin crashed. Unprepared news came out, like the Asian dip, and all of a sudden, TA has to take a back seat to news. Now, you can still make an argument for other reasons why we crashed this low. You can make an argument for potential, like we had take profit levels down this low. If you went out to the weekly chart, actually, the weekly chart says that we really should have stopped around 62 cents. I could find you rational arguments, maybe even over here on liquidity for going down that low. I don't think I will. Well, let's go take a look over here and see where liquidity kind of said we should go. Oh, look at that. 62 cents. That's the argument of 62. Why went all the way to 50? Not necessarily certain, but we had arguments for 60 cents. We had possibilities for 60 cents. A really good thing happened, or sorry, a really bad thing happened, but a good thing for those crashes, an unidentified thing happened, a thing that no one was ready for in the Asian markets crash. Bitcoin crashes, stock market crash. Ondo's not going to survive that just because it's sitting on its own little layer of support. So that's something to keep an eye on here. But again, I think Ondo, anything below that 70 cent zone, amazing buy signals. Amazing buy signals right there. Let's go here. Let's take out what else people want to see. Let's read some chat. XRP Maxi, what a name. But I'm glad you're here. Said this channel is, and is this. Okay, this channel is okay. Way better than the other ones that make up stories. Okay, yeah, we don't make up stories. Yeah. Steven Dye, I just did Caspa TA. So go back and look at that one. Exit the fiat Ponzi is smart. Okay, exit the fiat Ponzi. Exiting the fiat Ponzi is smart. I think that's what you mean, Flat Smack. I agree to the best of your ability. You have to have a little bit of fiat. We still live in a world where fiat is how you pay bills and how you pay taxes. So you gotta keep it there. Yeah, I think Crux is control. I don't know if Crux or T-shirt. We don't make up stories. No, we don't make up stories. I'll tell you this. I'm not creative enough. I see things on the internet. Like we'll see like articles for things, or we'll see Twitter accounts that they just post out fake news. And I'm just sitting here like, how does a person come up with that? There are people that you have to applaud their creativity for making up information. I don't think I'm that smart. I'm not that creative to make up information. I have enough trouble just studying the actual news in the charts that I'm going to just focus on that. I don't have time or energy to be making stuff up. I might not analyze it correctly. And for that, I apologize. But I would like to think that people can trust. Don't trust me for every perfect call, but I would like to think that people can trust me for being genuine and honest. Even if I'm wrong, I'm going to be genuine and honest, no matter what. I hope that's something that when I'm done with this life of influencing, hopefully for the next 30, 40 years, I'm still doing it. But I hope when I'm gone, people say, remember that Tim guy? Remember Tim and T-Shroom, those investing pros? They were honest. They were always honest. Someone says, let's take a look at Sol. Let us take a look at Sol. Let's do it. Let's pull that screen up. What time do we got? We got a couple minutes still. I love having all this time to do a lot of Q&A. Hopefully you guys are smashing that like button before you leave. I know some people are going to dip out during Q&A, but I think it's the perfect time to be smashing like. Let me give a special shout out to sponsors though. Again, our exchanges CoinW and Houdini Swap. Again, I want to make sure you guys understand, if you like the bros, there's a couple ways to support the bros. One, you can smash the like button. Number two, you can hit subscribe. Number three, you can join our free Discord. But the other ways is all of these partnerships that we come up with, that we create, we only partner with really good products. I'm never going to give you guys, we're never going to sponsor by something that we ourselves don't either use or invest in, right? We really don't take coin sponsorships whatsoever. Most of them are products like Luxalgo, and like these two that are sponsoring the show, Houdini Swap and CoinW. These are both places that I think are essential for you to have in your crypto journey. Houdini Swap, the number one swap out there. If you're moving your portfolio around and you want to prioritize speed, cheap exchange, cheap fees, and prioritize your privacy, Houdini Swap is the best swap at doing that. Check out the link down below. And if you're looking for good spot trades or even leverage trades, check out CoinW. When you sign up with our link, you can get over $100 for free. If you start trading in our Discord and putting up your trades, we actually have every single week giveaways for our CoinW and Blofin traders that we choose one trade, win or lose. Once a week, we choose a trade. You get a $50 giveaway once a week. You should absolutely, that's another way to support the channel. Even if you don't necessarily join our memberships or anything else like that, if you don't give super chats, that's completely fine. Simply getting these products that help you invest by purchasing those, you are supporting our channel. Make sure to go check those out. Let's go back to do Solana TA. Love the humor, love the TA. Well, 1 hour spent with my bros. Love it. I'm so glad. I hate the days I have to miss the live show because this is my favorite hour of the day as well, spending this time with you. Solana came down, hit the lower band. We actually discussed this. I put it in low probability, but I talked about the possibility of the take profit on the daily chart getting hit at 110. Guess what? Possibility, guys. We have a big order block on the daily chart down here at 100. If we get another leg down, if the bottom is not in, watch for some major buying to happen around $100 on Solana. Major order block in play right there. I bet you, even if we went out to the weekly chart, we're gonna see some levels here. Now we were bounced nicely off that smart trail. Why is this? Oh, it's because we bounced back up. Okay, at the moment we're keeping this breaker block nice and bullish at the moment. But yeah, we are seeing here our weekly chart. We have been bullish from a couple weeks back. Let's check out what the daily chart's looking like. Ooh, look at that nice sell signal. So this is an opportunity. Before we knew anything bad in the space, Solana did have a major sell in order where we saw the reversal, bearish momentum, and then not only negative money flow, but excessive buyers in the space leave. That is a reason for moves to downside, but check it out. We're flashing oversold again. I'm telling you guys, TA, you might fail you from time to time, but it's not an 100% perfect thing. Ultimately, you guys see all the chaos on my screen right now. I can tell you on this chart alone, 6 different levels of support and 3 different levels of resistance. I'm kind of throwing those numbers out there, but you get my point. This tells me where there will be buying and where they're selling. It cannot predict perfectly where we'll reverse either way, up or down, but that's up for the trader to decide. But it does tell me levels to watch out for that other people will buy and other people will sell. It communicates to me with these oscillators how strong or how weak the market is and how likely we are to see a reversal in play. The rest is still educated guessing in TA. And right now, there was an educated guess that looks like it's playing out pretty well, that 110 would be hit. There was an educated guess that we were overextended back up here when price was sitting at $190, and we needed to correct. And so far, those guesses were semi-correct, and it looks like it's playing out well. So what I'm looking for, again, whether you want to buy right now, I told you guys the other day, anything between 130 and 120 was a good buy order. We're seeing 128. That's in that level. But if you want to leave some cash on the side for an $100 Solana, if Bitcoin drops to 42 or 45, I bet you Solana drops to 100. Is that definite? No, but the possibility is absolutely there. After that, the possibility of a major move to the upside stays in order, because even though Solana is dipping pretty severely here, Guess what? Candle body closes here on the daily chart. Still have not seen a candle body close below $127 since all the way back here in March on the 5th. So good sign still for Solana, even with those prices pulling back. There's been a lot of FUD. Solana. There's not a Solana FUD this week. I'm not buying it. I still think Solana is one of the strongest projects. I think it's going to continue to be a top mover in the space. I think it's going to maintain its number 3 ranking of cryptocurrencies throughout the rest of this bull market. Don't fall for the FUD. Buy the dip. That's what you should be doing. What else we got? Probably one more question. Crypto King says, Moon Boys, let's go. You know what I also think it's funny? I think it's funny that as we have crashed here more recently, and I've been bullish, and I've been calling for a reversal coming soon. The bull market's still on. I'm getting accused of being a moon boy, and I'm being accused of being overly bullish, which is very fun because back in March, do you guys remember when I kept calling for a reversal? And the whole joke was Tim's way too bearish. Tim's such a bear, blah, blah. I'm a contrarian. And I'll tell you this, guys, I'm not always right. But when I am, it's pretty lethal. And it's because I take the path less chosen, the contrarian path. If everyone is bearish, I tend to be a little more bullish because that's how markets often end up working out. Dan A says, not Solana FUD, it's just news. Yeah, but it's news put in a way to really speak negatively about Solana. I'll tell you this. If FTX couldn't take out Solana, and I know that's what the news coming back in is that Solana, that FTX still owns 8%. Guess what? Let's say FTX sells all of their shares of Solana and the price temporarily dips. Someone else is going to pick it up. That is not long-term bearish news, but the way people talked about that news with FTX still owning 8% or something of Solana, they made it sound like that's the end of Solana. Give it up. No new all-time highs. Everything's over. And that's just not how it works. If they sell, someone will buy it from them. Price might dip temporarily, but it's going to shoot right back up. Not worried about my long-term Solana holding based off that news. Alex Mathis, Tim, this morning was my favorite stream that you have ever done so far. Wow, that's high regard there. Thank you for that. Kyle Field said morning shows used to be bangers. Hey, in the future, we might be able to bring morning shows back. Ultimately, we've been talking with a lot of great analysts and great YouTubers trying to just help us perfect our craft. And they kind of told us, hey, if we look at your numbers, look what's happening. The morning shows just weren't doing as well. You need to put out a video every single day or try to put out a video every single day. That's a good time slot to do it. So Tisha and I we made the decision, hey, 3 p.m., that's our bread and butter. That's where most of our community comes in and watches. We're not going to move the 3 p.m. live show unless something crazy happens. We're going to keep that one. But from time to time, when an emergency factor comes into play, like major economic numbers or things like today, where we'd had a crash over the weekend and we wanted to see how markets opened, we will still go live from time to time at 9 a.m. for that. But hey, in the future, we are very open. If everything aligns perfectly with my time, I know T-Stream now is able to be full-time Investing Bros, which is awesome, but he's got a lot of things he's working on behind the scenes that some of you guys will see in the future. Some of you might never see it. Ultimately, in the future, if we ever go back, if I'm able to go full-time Investing Bros, would love to go back to multiple streams a day and videos. Content will pump out. So that's going to wrap up today's show, I think. Army Piper, Bros Beard Oil needs a licensed beard line, Tim. Is that a brand? Bros Beard Oil? Or you're saying I should make one, Bros Beard Oil. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I have the connections to brand my own beard oil. I also don't use beard oil. So I'd have to start using it. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. That's going to wrap up today's show. Thank you for being here. Please smash that like on the way out. Please hit subscribe. Let's get to 30,000 before the end of August. That's very easy. We slowed down a little bit. It's August 5th. But let's get over that $30,000 subscriber level. I know there's not as many newer people here because crypto is down, but you guys go rally the troops, tell all your friends about it, share all of our posts all over the place wherever you can and get more people in here. That's going to do it for today. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. I'm really hoping T-Stream comes back, but we'll have to wait until the end to see it. With that said, adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots like bacon. We are investing pros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper. Turn that better than cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots that bank. We are investing pros. We are investing bros.